Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today is finally a beautiful day. It's really bright outside and it's actually pretty hot. It's like around 80 degrees. So it's looking really good and that means more mods to come. But for today's video, I'll be going over the 5 mods that I think you should get for the Lexus IS. So the first mod I want to go over is the LCA Bushing. So for the Lexus IS specifically, they do actually come with a really weak LCA bushing, and within time you actually start having like some inner wear tire on the fronts, and you have to basically replace the front tires, and it's just gonna be like an expense within time. With my car, I already replaced the LCA bushing. I do actually have the FIGS Engineering, the Model 90, which is the high performance one, and it's the stiffest one that they actually offer. But I just want to show you guys my OEM bushing that I removed. One of the reasons why this is actually weak is because of this area right here. So this area right here is just like pure rubber. So obviously I can't really like flex it with just like my fingers. It needs like quite amount of pressure, but obviously with the weight of the car, it'll actually like flex it a pretty good amount. But I'm not sure if you guys can kind of like see that crack area right here. So I believe this was like kind of like starting to like wear out. And as for the FIGS Engineering LCA bushings, they use like a polyurethane material. So with that type of material, it's more stronger and it doesn't flex as much as the OEM ones, and it really helps with the inner wear tire. So there's a lot of options to go with the LCA bushing. So you can go with my route, which I did the 90 model high performance FIGS Engineering bushings, or you could go with the 80. The 80 is kind of like a less stiffer mode, versus this, the 91, it's a lot more stiffer. Another brand that makes an upgraded LCA bushing is R Racing. So they actually have like different types of models as well, depending on like what you want. And as for price, it really depends again what you're going for. So it could range from like $300 to like $400 for both R Racing and FIGS Engineering. And last, you can actually go with the OEM style, which you can actually swap the IS LCA bushings to the GSF. They will do the actually same job where it'll save the inner wear tire, and it's just like, I guess, not really that stiff compared to the FIGS or the R Racing. So this is my tire right here. So I just did a full turn to the right, and as you can see, there's no signs of inner wear tire, and obviously this is doing its job, so that's a really good sign. This is underneath the car, and I'm gonna do my best to show you guys how it looks, and that's pretty much it right there. That's the first mod I think one should get. Even though one doesn't plan on even modifying the car, the least you can do actually upgrade your LCA bushings, because it'll save your OEM tires and all that. It'll just be more like a day and night thing. With the whole installation to the upgraded bushings, it's really simple. I do have actually a video. It's actually one of my first videos I made for my YouTube. You guys can check it out. I'll go ahead and definitely leave the part numbers for each options, brands, and all that in the description box below, even with the OEM part number. But definitely get rid of this OEM bushings, because they're not good for the front tires. So now that we're done with the first mod, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the second mod, which is the Apexi throttle control. So with the whole Apexi throttle control, it really changes the gas pedal depending on what mode you have it on. So for me, for instance, I actually always have it at the red mode. The red mode is pretty much the highest mode that you can get, and it's a lot more responsive as compared to like just having it not on. And there's actually a green mode. The green mode is pretty much like a eco mode, and that's pretty much if you want to save gas, I guess. It's a really simple installation. It'll take you like 5 to 10 minutes, and all you really have to do is just unplug the gas pedal plug that goes into the gas pedal right there. And once you unplug that, you just gotta replace it with this right here, which is kind of like a external plug for the gas pedal. You connect the gas pedal to the Apexi control connection, and that's pretty much it. And then you just pretty much route wherever you want it. I, for example, just use this empty slot right here, and then just kind of mounted it there just so it looks more like OEM look. I've seen other people like kind of like put it right here or even on the side. I think this is a must get mod, because you'll definitely feel the difference when pressing on the gas pedal, whether you're just like cruising or even just like full sending it. It'll basically work for almost all Lexus models, even for the IS, GS, RC, RCF, ISF, and then the GSF. I'll go ahead and leave the Apexi throttle control link in the description box below so you guys can check it out. So that is pretty much mod number 2. So now I'm gonna go to mod number 3, which is the intake. So there's a lot of questions whether or not the intake will increase the horsepower in the Lexus IS. I'll tell you right now, it does not increase anything at all. What it will give is possibly give a slight throttle sound, and also it's just really just looks. There are many options for the intake for the Lexus IS specifically. So they have the Esport, the R Racing, which is just really just the carbon fiber tube right here. And then they also have the Takeda one. The Takeda one is the one that has a more louder, throttlier sound, but really horsepower wise it's just like all the same among like all brands. Before running the Esport intake, I used to actually run the R Racing carbon fiber intake. So again, it'll basically just replace this tube right here where the aluminum is, but it'll actually keep the OEM filter box. So it was kind of like just really looks again. Really, I didn't feel any difference with like having my OEM one still installed, but even with this I still felt the same way with like switching it to the Esport. The reason why I did it was really because I just want to keep it OEM style. There's no like cons or pros really for one another. I mean, I say maybe a like slight pro with the Esport intake is that it did give it a more slightly throttly sound. Never had the Takeda intake, but I've actually heard it in person, and it's pretty loud like for intake. So those of you who want that sound, go with the Takeda intake, or those of you who just want to have the OEM style but have like a slight upgrade, go with the Esport. Or those who want to have that cool look, go with the R Racing carbon fiber look. I say this is an important mod to get because once you open the hood of the IS, there's not much you can do to the engine besides having a strut bar or intake. But I think with the intake, it's the most important one out of the whole engine bay right here, and besides the headers of course, but you can't really see the headers obviously once you open the engine bay. It's just really just here, that's it. And the PP headers is somewhere around there, so it's ceramic coated, but you can barely even notice it that's there unless you look under the car or just hear it. But anyways, that is it for mod number 3. And let's head over to mod number 4. For the 4th mod, I will say it's only specific to the 6-speed all-wheel drive, and it's not for the 8-speed wheel drive. The IS does have a slight delay whenever you're shifting from 1st gear to 2nd gear, or even from 2nd gear to 3rd gear, or even has like that random slip whenever you're changing gears. There is actually one small upgrade that'll actually help that whole delay, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what mod that is. I will tell you right now, I have not installed that mod yet. That is because I recently found out about this mod. The 4th mod is the transmission line booster kit, and that is actually made by Sonnax, and Sonnax is the only one that makes it for the Lexus IS specifically for the 6-speed all-wheel drive system. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I mean by the Sonnax transmission booster kit. So this is pretty much all it comes, and that is the spring regulator right there, and this one is the large ratio boost assembly. So in the description right here, it does mention that there are specific like aftermarket springs that raise pressure too much at idle, but not enough maximum pressure. With the Sonnax, it's like a good combination where it smooths the engagement and lower load on pump at idle, but it has a greater increase in pressure as the transmission is worked harder. So meaning that when you're going from like 2nd gear to 3rd gear at a really aggressive like pump, it's gonna shift immediately to 3rd gear. So it's one of those things where it's not gonna have like that delay or even that slip. So again, I don't have it on my car right now. Unfortunately, I can't really show you guys what's the difference, how much of a difference it does make to the car. But what I can tell you is that one person does have it, and she mentioned that it's a complete different car whenever she does gun the car or full sends it. And I will say, your car does not have to be boosted, supercharged, or whatever this car can hold, right? You can only just like install that booster kit, even with just like being full on, pretty much like how I am right now. I will actually need a lift. I can't really just do it at home. I mean, you can do it at home, but you just again have to be really careful whenever it comes to the transmission. So just gotta get someone who knows how to do it, knows their stuffs, and make sure to get everything that you need to replace the gasket, the filter, and get the OEM transmission fluid. Once I have that transmission booster kit on, I'll most likely do a review and a POV drive of how it feels with that new upgrade to the car. That is it for mod number 4. The next one is mod number 5, which is the last one, and that is the suspension for the Lexus IS. I am currently running BC Coilovers Extreme Lows. If you go to like BC specifically, they will tell you that they do not sell it for this specific model specifically. So you kind of have to get like the BC Coilovers from the GS, from the 13 to 18 models. And if you have an all-wheel drive, just also be specific to that as well. But besides BC Coilovers, RSR also makes coilovers for this car, specific for the IS actually. And they actually have like their own damping control. RSR actually has its own like kind of like damping control functionality where this will still work. So you know when you have that sport mode, Sport Plus, and then the normal mode, which is like the eco mode I guess. But anyways, this is pretty much it, where it'll adjust to the coilover. But with the BCs, you can't really like place this into the coilover because it's not like really a direct fitment. So I pretty much have to put this up to the side, but there's no codes that it'll throw. It's just like the damping control that you control from the inside. So with the BCs, you pretty much have to like manually like turn it to the soft mode or to the hard mode. And then another brand is the R&R Racing Coilovers, and they actually sell a true coilover. So what I mean by true coilover is that the rears, so for the rears, it's really weird. The strut and the spring is actually separate, so they're not like really together. So with R&R, they actually sell it together, but the thing is that you also need to change the control arm. So by the control arm, I'm not sure you guys can see that, so that is basically the control arm. And you see how sort of you see it where the spring is. So that spring is basically the ride height regulator. So that's the only way you could actually raise it or lower your car, and it's really a pain in the ass to do it. And the only way to do it is to bring down the controller arm down, and then also unbolting the links, and that's how you pretty much adjust the height of the car. There's no other way to really do it when it's on it because of so much tension that there is from the springs, and it's just gonna be impossible. For my situation, I can't really do that on my driveway just because I actually need a lift, and I need some support from the control arm because of how much tension there is, and it's just, you have to really be careful with that. And to adjust the height, you pretty much have to like blind adjust it from the spring, and then kind of see like where it sits once you like assemble basically everything back together. So it kind of sucks, the kind of like setup I have right now for the rears. I kind of wish I had the custom control arm with the single or the together strut and spring together BC Coilovers. And not to mention, BC Coilovers actually makes the coilovers for this as well. So if you get the control arm, you could either go the R Racing route or the BC Coilovers route. But if you don't want to go that route with the whole coilovers, you can also go bags. I'm not too informative about bags. I've never ran bags on the IS, but what I do know is that it's cool to have bags, I will say that, and it's a lot more easy to adjust. For those of you guys running bags on the IS, feel free to comment down below just to say what's your review on it, how you like it, what's the maintenance on it, and just to see what others, I just want to see what others would say about having bags on the IS. I know for my car, I can't run bags because I'll definitely rub if I just drop this car all the way down. Besides having bags and the coilovers, you could also get springs for this car. RSR makes it, and I used to actually run RSRs for the IS. It was really good. It actually looked a lot more lower than what it is right now. For some reason, it dropped my car really low, and that is specific to the super downs. I had actually people compliment that I was actually on coilovers when I was not. If you get the springs for this car, you're gonna notice the car lean a little bit more lower towards the driver's side. I think springs is more for temporarily, because again, you don't want to have springs for a long time because it can damage the struts, the OEM struts. So it's not recommended to really run springs for a very long time. But if you plan to keep the car in the long term, I'd definitely invest in either getting coilovers or bags. Anyways, that is pretty much it for the 5 mods that you should get for the IS. Even if you just got this car, definitely look into those 5 mods, and I'll definitely leave all the links in the description box below. Feel free to check them out if you're interested. But if you guys think I'm missing something, like a link to it, just go ahead and comment, and I'll do my best to research and find that link. Look out for more videos because I do have more mods that just came in. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.